Yo, what's up guys? I want to remind you yet again, you are a few months away from another mega bull market. Now I need you to be ready for this. So what we decided to do is we're actually going to give you a lesson from Sniper School. And this is the stochastic RSI. This is going to teach you areas where to buy, areas where to sell, and it's going to give you a little bit of a taste of why you need education right now. Now guys, Sniper School is going to blow your mind. It's finally going to give you that aha moment and give you the tools that you need for a bull market. Bull market is not easy, but it can change your life, and I'm here to help you with that. And remember, if you do enjoy this education and you want to join Sniper School, there are 3 very simple steps below this video. And I want to tell you something, the school is absolutely free. Sit back, relax, and I'll see you all in class. Today I want to introduce to you my favorite indicator that has never failed me. When I started in this game, I really struggled with chasing pumps. I got panicked out when the markets dipped off, and I ended up being in a yo-yo of emotions every day. I was using tons of different indicators, my charts were so busy, and to be honest, I was probably trying way too hard. Now, something you probably didn't know is that Mama Sniper and I learned to trade together. We traded every single day and night, and we ended up going through a crazy journey together. She kept me grounded through all of it, because my emotions were all over the place. I'd be the kamikaze that wants to learn everything and be smart, and she would take the gems out of it and balance me. So when my mom saw how I was trading, all these indicators, all the noise, she then started to kick my ass, saying, "What are you doing? You're letting your emotions get the better of you." Then Mama Sniper reminded me of the stochastic RSI indicator. She reminded me to keep it simple. She humbled me and brought me back to reality. So you can thank her for this video. If she hadn't shown me, I'd probably not be teaching you this lesson today. So the first thing we want to do is jump onto our trading view and load the stochastic RSI indicator. So in order to do that, you want to come up to your indicator section, which is this button over here. You want to click on that, and under the search column, you're going to put stock, and you will see the stock RSI pop up over here. Now what you want to remember to do is star it so it can fall under your favorite, so it's easy to find going in the future. Now once you've clicked on this button, you will then see how your RSI pops up. Now it's a very simple indicator. It may look a little bit overwhelming, but it's very easy. It is something that just goes up and down in a certain radius of 0 to 100. And you can just see how it just fluctuates like a wave. Now the important thing to take is whenever this is over the 80% mark, which you'll see on the right, this is now considered to be overbought. It's an area now where there's been too much buying, and it's actually an area where you should be focusing on selling. Then you got the opposite side, where when it's below 20%, it is now considered oversold, where there's been tons of selling, lots of panic in the market, and you shouldn't be worried about panicking out, more looking at where can I buy. Now, if you look at this indicator to the actual chart, you'll soon see the power of it. You could see that in this area from the bottom, we started getting a lot of green candles. The market started accelerating up in one straight line. And then on the RSI, you could see we came from an oversold position all the way up to overbought. And what happened after that? We started getting way above the 80%. The market started to slow down and it started to reverse, showing you that this was getting too hyped up. There was too much buying. There is selling pressure coming at some point. And if you look previously at the data here as well, you'll see the same thing. From this area over here, we were overbought. We then trailed down, started to sell off, and you can see how the RSI made its way down. And if you go through all the previous data, you'll see how powerful it is. It's teaching you when the market is really run by greed right now, don't jump in because it's a trap. You could see over here how this shot all the way up to oversold. We had really strong green candles. This would have said, don't buy. We have too much buying right now. And all of a sudden the market would reverse. Now it would come down to an oversold area where you should be buying the fear, getting into the market. You'll be looking to add positions over here. And all of a sudden from that, the market then went up. And look how beautifully the market follows the RSIs. So what you're focusing here is you can see that there's 2 lines. And ideally what they say is when these lines cross each other is when you should start making the decision. I use it similar, but not really. What I actually do is when we get to these areas over here, I am now focused on either buying or selling. So what I mean by that is as soon as we go over the 80%, I am prepping to sell. So I dollar cost out of the market. I start selling a little bit every few hours or every day or two, and I start getting out of the market at that point. It doesn't matter if I catch the complete top or not, I know I'm selling in the right phase. And it's the same with buying. Because if you see over here, price came down here, we then started hitting the oversold, but price went slightly lower. It doesn't give you the exact area on where we're going to bounce, but it tells you're in the right zone where you should be focused on buying. So what I do is, as soon as we hit below the 20%, I started buying, and I bought a little bit more, and I bought a little bit more, until we started exiting the 20%. Then I stopped buying because my buys now have to be in. And then all of a sudden the market started to take off. And as soon as we got to these areas, I was making sure I was out. Now, the main thing to focus about this indicator is no-go zone, if you want to call it. Somewhere where you shouldn't be buying or selling. You mainly focus on these two areas. Now, something that can be quite confusing is all the different time frames. And I want to simplify this for you. Trading is very simple, actually. The only difference is you get different types of traders. You get guys that want to trade in the day and they only want to make money for the day. So they don't care what the market does tomorrow or in the next week. They just want to know what is happening today. So what they do is they create time frames for you for that. And the one that I use for daily is the 1 hour. So what happens here is this RSI will be telling me completely something different than other time frames. And reason being is because you're either zooming in and you mainly focus on the area or the time frame that you want to trade on. So what I use for hourly is my daily trading. I only want to know what's going to happen today. I don't care what happens tomorrow. So if I jump on this, you can see very clearly that this now is showing me an oversold position. It's showing me now that the market is now an oversold short time frame, and we can expect at some point we're going to get some buying power. So I'm looking to buy in these areas of the oversold, and I'm looking to sell in the areas of the overbought. Then we'll jump to the 4 hour, the one I was on previously. This is something that I'll use for 2 to 3 days data. I only want to trade once over the next 2 to 3 days. That's where the 4 hours powerful. So it's only going to show me data relevant for that time frame. And it's the same as you make your way up. 8 hour is every 5-day trades. 12 hour, I'm looking for the next week, week and a half. Daily, I'm looking for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So as you go through all the different RSIs, you'll see they will be different. And you want to match which RSI is with your strategy right now. I can only trade once a month? Fine. Then use the daily. Use the RSI that is equipped for what you need it for. And then it will give you a very clear picture. And you can still see on every single one of these, if you focused on buying on the oversold, you'll be buying in this area. Now it's overbought, you'll be selling here. And you can see it doesn't matter which time frame or strategy that you use, how powerful this tool is. You just have to make sure that you are matching the right RSI or the right time frame to your specific strategy. It looks quite simple, right? It is that simple and it is that powerful. This is going to stop the emotion and it's going to get that mind of yours to stop overrunning. Your mind's going to tell you to buy. The RSI is going to tell you to sell. Your mind's going to tell you to sell. The RSI is going to tell you to buy. We have to think completely different to the rest of the world. You have to become a machine, become a system that is purely built for you. And that's how you become a successful trader. Now I know what you're thinking. It's time to become a sniper. Below this video, you're going to find the 3 basic steps to get into sniper school. Step number 1, you need to open an exchange account using one of the sniper school links. Step number 2, deposit $100 or more, and this is going to be your trading capital that you're going to use on the actual course. Step number 3, you're going to register for sniper school and you're going to insert your user ID to get verified. Now, once you've done step number 3, you are going to get an email that has these 3 basic steps for you. So guys, if you've enjoyed this content and you're excited to learn, to get yourself prepped for the bull run, do the simple 3 steps below and I'll see you all in class. Now you have a basic understanding of how to load up the stochastic RSI tool and a simple understanding of what it actually does. Now I'm going to show you the true power. I'm actually going to give you strategies on how to trade with this. Now guys, I'm going to give you 3 different strategies. And what's important to understand this is you can use the strategies at any point in your life. I'm giving you a long-term, a medium-term, and a short time frame trading strategy. Now, if You don't have time for a few weeks, you can apply the one strategy. All of a sudden you get a little bit of time off of work, you have a bit more time to trade. You can use the short time frame strategy. That's why it's so important for you to understand each of them so you can apply them at any stage in your life. And you'll soon see how powerful it actually is. Now for the first one, I'm going to show you the long-term strategy. So if we jump onto TradingView, the first thing you want to make sure is that you're on the weekly candles. We're looking at a very high time frame view. Now the data that I'm showing you here is the last 4 years of Bitcoin. At the price 4 years ago, Bitcoin is around $3,500. If I bought that and I just held it throughout the last 4 years, I would basically be up by 360%, which is pretty good, right? Only if you obviously bought it at a really good price. A lot of people bought way higher. Now, if you apply this strategy, you would have made up to 1,800% in the exact same time. Now on the long time frame strategy, when you're looking to sell, you always want to sell above the 80 to the 100% mark. That's the range that you want to look to sell at. Now the way I use this is as soon as the lines enter the 80% mark, the trigger goes in my brain that I need to get ready to sell. Does not mean I'm selling right now, it means I'm getting prepared. I need a strategy to get out of the market. It's starting to get overheated to the top. Then you can see that you have these two lines and you can see that they cross at some points. And that is an indication for me to make sure that I've executed the trade. Now, for example, if you saw this one over here, we started to enter. As soon as we enter this 80% mark, I'm preparing to sell. As soon as we go up to that area and we cross, I'm making sure I've sold by that point, if not selling at that point of when it's happening. Now, it's the same thing when we enter down. So the only difference here is you are buying between 0 to 15%. Now we know previously we said 0 to 20. That will come on a later strategy, but for the long term, it is 0 to 15% is when I'm buying. We enter the area, I'm getting ready to buy. And by the time we have crossed those lines, I'm making sure that I have executed the actual trade. Now, if we had to take the last 4 years and we had to see all the different times we've gotten to these areas, you actually only would have traded 6 times. 4 years, you actually only would have had 6 trades, which is quite crazy, right? So now this is how you would have actually executed the strategy. 6 trades in the last 4 years. Every time we entered the bottom is where you would have bought. So for example, the first time you would have bought Bitcoin around $3,000 to $3,500. Then the market went up and we started to get to an overheated point. So you can see over here how we started to go sideways. Now we can stay in these ranges for a little bit of time at any point. That's why the cross is very important of when to make sure that you've executed. So you would have basically bought at this area, you would have held all the way to the top, and when you saw the cross, you would have made sure you would have gotten out. Now that would have equaled to a 70 to a 80% gains in that trade at that specific time. And you would have got out of the market. Then you could see after that, price kept going up. You don't care. You don't buy when price is going up. You're not chasing it. You're waiting for the next time it's oversold. And the next time it was oversold was around $7,000 in this area over here. You would have bought, you would have made another 38% until we got to that area. And you would have done this consistently as we go. Now the big important thing to understand is as the trades progressed, by the time your 4th trade came in, something crazy actually happened. You got a really good buy, which was around $10,000. Then the market exploded and you could see how the RSI made its way up to the top and it stayed there for a while. But what it ended up doing is you actually ended up selling very early, which was around $25,000 to the $30,000 mark. Never ignore it, do it. Now, if you have done that, the market still went up 200% after that. It still exploded all the way to the top. You don't care, you stick to the strategy. And you would have had to sit through all of that emotion to not listen to anyone to buy back in because your indicator was not at the bottom anytime soon. The only time that it hit the bottom again was in this area over here, which is around $36,000. That's where you would have bought. And then you would see you would have bought, you would have made 40% gains again. Market still went up higher than that. So do you see how it makes you ignore all of the emotions? Because everyone there is busy hyping and really wants to get in. No, your indicator told you to take profits and you would have taken profits at that area. Then your RSI would have reset to the bottom. You would have bought and you would have had another trade, which is up to 25% gains. And then you could see it told you to sell, get out of the market. All of a sudden the market came all the way back down to 20. So by you being consistent, you actually built a 6 out of 6 winning trade, because you didn't care about being perfect at the bottom, at the top. You made money every time you traded, which was powerful. So some might see it as a loss, you didn't get all the gains. And you can see that I just see a consistent growth in my actual money. So let's say you started with $2,000. You took 6 trades, right? But the beautiful part of this is your first trade you would have made 72%. You would have taken your account from $2,000 to $3,400 in that area just off one trade. Then you would have waited for the RSIs to get down again, and you would have taken your next trade. Now the beautiful part of this is your next trade, your gains are off the 3,400 and not the 2,000. And you can see how it starts to compound. Every time you grow your account, your gains the next time are even bigger and even bigger. And it actually ended up, by the 6th trade, we were over $35,000 off of your $2,000 mark. Now, if you just held Bitcoin in that time, you would have turned your $2,000 into $6,000. But by using this powerful strategy, you would be sitting over $35,000 with 6 trades over the 4-year period. Now, the biggest thing to remember with this is to ignore the noise, ignore the emotion. When the indicator tells you to do something, you do it. You close the laptop and you wait for the next signal. And when it gets to the area to get back in is when you implement again. So it's very important to ignore what anyone is telling you. If you follow a simple strategy like this, you'll see how consistently you'll make a lot of money. And imagine now you go through another 6 trades of this in the next 3 years. How far can you take that $35,000? Very simple and extremely powerful. So the stochastic RSI long-term strategy you will use many times in your life. But then there's also times that you want to trade in between. And that takes me to the next video, where I'm going to show you the medium-term RSI strategy, which is just as powerful. Now I'm going to show you the medium-term stochastic RSI strategy. Now, you're going to use this strategy many times in your life when you're a little bit busy, you still want to trade, but you don't have too much time to look at the screen. And I'm going to show you an example over the last 10 months, how you would have executed 9 trades and you would have made over 300% by doing that. Yet the markets and Bitcoin actually went down 60% in the same time. So with this medium-term stochastic strategy, I like to use the 12-hour candles as it gives me a view over a few months. Now let's jump onto TradingView and let me show you how this actually works. So it works very similar to the last video that I've showed you, that you always want to sell when you get to the overbought positions and you always want to buy when you get to the oversold. The only difference this time is I've crunched it down a little bit more to when exactly you should be doing this. When you are selling in the overbought section, I'm doing this between 90 and 100%. Previously, we've always done from 80 to 100, but on the smaller time frames, you have to be a little bit tighter range and you want to catch the perfect zone. And this is usually when the market is extremely emotional, very fearful or very bullish, greedy at that point. So you want to catch the last bit of that to get that really good entry. So I'm using 90 to 100 to sell, and I'm using 0 to 10 to buy. And all that I'm doing is the same strategy every time. As soon as we enter the zone, I'm getting ready. When we cross, I am in. Then we go up, we get to the top. As soon as we enter the zone, I'm getting ready to take profits. As soon as we cross, I'm out. I don't buy or don't touch the coin until we are back in this area again. And I just consistently do the same thing over and over again. Now this would have resulted in me doing 9 trades over that time. And if I show you how it looks on the actual chart, it's the same thing. It does not get the exact bottoms and tops, but consistently it gives you winning trades. And you can see out of all of these over here, some of them were smaller, some were bigger, but we won every single trade through these times, which is extremely powerful. Now let's say that 10 months ago, you put $1,000 in at this area. Now if you bought at 35,000, you'd be sitting over 60% loss right now if you just held. If you used the strategy, you would have slowly compounded your account by the 20%, the 10% gains, sometimes the 6% gains. So in 10 months, you would have ended up taking 9 trades and ended up making over 300% in a bear market, when the market was actually going down. Now you can start to see how powerful this actually is. Now in the next video, I'm going to show you the short time frame strategy where you're going to be implementing the same sort of methods but on a way shorter time frame. And this is for when you have time in the day or if you really want to learn very quickly. It is just as simple and just as powerful. Now I'm going to show you the short time frame stochastic RSI strategy. Now you need to just have the basic understanding that we are zooming in now. So remember that if you are looking to day trade and short-term trade, that you need to be trading with capital that is there just to make your money, your daily cash, and not putting all of your money in at once. So if we jump onto the trading view charts, I use the 4 hour for my shorter term trades. This results in me doing 2 to 3 trades a week. Now I'm going to take the last month's data of the trades that I would take, and you can see it's very similar. I bought over here, price went lower than that, but then recovered, and I sold over there, it went a lot higher than that. So it's still the same thing. It's never going to give you the exact bottom and exact top, but it consistently wins you trades. Now this works the same way as previously, and the only difference again is you are always looking to buy 0 to 10% and you're looking to sell 90 to 100%. When it enters the area, you are getting prepared to either sell or buy, and when you get the cross of the blue and the orange line is when you need to make sure you've either executed or you're going to execute at those areas. Now if I plot this on a chart on the last few trades that I've taken in that month, we would have started in this area when the market was oversold, right? Bitcoin at that time was basically around $20,000. Now, if you bought Bitcoin at this area and you held it over the last month, you would have been at a 4 to a 5% loss. But if you traded it with this strategy, you would have been 20% up for the month. So you can see it's not as big as the longer term gains because you are doing it in a lot short period of time. So you would have done the same thing. When the market was oversold, you would have bought. Only once we got to the area of us crossing, you would have sold. This trade would have resulted in a 7% gain. Then you would have had another area where you bought over here. Remember, all the middle here, you're doing nothing. Nothing, only until you get to the key zone. You would have bought, you would have sold. You wouldn't have made much money that time, but it was still a winning trade. After that, you could see how this just plays out really beautiful. You just got to be really strict on yourself to only execute the trades when you see the direct signal that you're looking at. And ideally what this would have given you was 20% gain on your capital. So if you started 1 month ago with this strategy with $1,000, you would now have $1,200, where if you just held it, you would have been down $50. And it just shows you that doesn't matter the time frame. This strategy is extremely powerful. All you have to do is build the system, build the rules, and make sure that you stick to it every time. If you do that, you have an extremely good system that will make you a lot of money. So now we understand why this is my favorite indicator, and we can thank Mama Sniper for that one. So we have the 3 strategies. We have the short term, the medium term, and the long term strategy. You can choose either one that suits your life. This is teaching you to become a consistent trader. You don't have to always catch the bottoms and the tops. You can just make sure you're running a system where you're winning trades and your account will compound and eventually get to the size that you want it to be. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed that lesson. I hope you're putting the stochastic RSI on your trading view right now. It's amazing, right? It's amazing to have tools that actually help you a lot and they remove the emotion. Now remember, you want to join Sniper School, you have the 3 basic steps below. Get yourself ready, get pumped. You're in an incredible space. You have a beautiful community that believes in you. Now it's time to take the first step. I'll see you in class.